Joining us on the show is the Joint Managing Director of the company, Mr. Kapil Agarwal. Mr. Agarwal, good to have you on the show. Let's start with the headline numbers. There is some pressure on the Q4 EBITDA. Margin has come in at 32.6 versus 38.5. The PBT is lower. The PAT is just about stable. So take us through these headline numbers first, because despite an up move on the revenue, operationally it seems to be weak.
Yeah, you see, the Q3 and Q4 were obviously under pressure so far as the advertising revenue was concerned, and that has brought down. But now we are seeing that the recovery is happening, and the current quarter is operating on the expected lines. So we don't see an issue going forward because the demonetization impact is gone.
All right. So, let's talk about a couple of things then, sir, because if you talk about the demonetization impact plus the fact that Caravan, which is a smaller portion of your business, has been a little under pressure in this quarter. Going ahead is the monsoon quarter. So in any case, the trucks are, they're not functioning during that time. So the contribution from Caravan is likely to be lesser going ahead. So and post obviously the recovery from demonetization, because that also impacted the Caravan side of the business. Are we likely to remain a little under pressure from these other fringe items, owing to which the overall operational performance is also likely to remain subdued?
So Caravan operation, actually, there was absolutely no operation in Q4. So last year, for the whole year, there is a 17 crore net loss, which it has contributed negative loss, negative profit to the company, which has obviously affected our overall performance. But now from April, we already have, as we speak today, April it started coming back to life, and as we speak, there are 47 vans which are operating at a good margin. And we have another 20 vans which will become operational within this month. So by end of this month, we'll have 67 vans operating. So I think that effect is going, and certainly that loss will come down very, very heavily in this year. And God willing, it will also, it may contribute to the positive loss. So it may, by itself, may add substantially to the top line and bottom line of the company, of the consolidated top line and bottom line.
Right. Sir, let's talk about the core of your business, which is ad revenues, and specifically government ad revenues. So usually we see that the governments, federally as well as state-wise, tend to exhaust their budget in the fourth quarter. We've had the UP elections this time around, a whole host of state elections that came through, and also it was the fourth quarter. So, there's budget pressure in any case. So your advertising revenue has also declined, in fact, in this quarter on a year-on-year basis. Why is that? Because if anything, this time around, the triggers on the upside were higher. And secondly, also, if you take a look at the quality of releases in this quarter were not, as big as possibly what we have seen in the last year. So how has the ad revenue, especially from the government side, been impacted?
No, government side also revenue was initially impacted actually. You see, the Q3, the second half of Q3, government revenue was almost wiped out. And Q4, it started coming slowly back to life. But I think the last 2 months were very good so far as the government revenue is concerned, because a lot of new government programs have started. But now in the current year, we are seeing in the current quarter, post Q4, that the revenues are doing well so far as the advertising revenue, both from government as well as from the non-government, the corporate sectors.
Right. So let's talk about the international business. Internationally, almost 85% of revenues come from 6 Hollywood studios, majorly. But in India, these studios contribute to a range of 15 to 20% of the revenues. So can you take us through this discrepancy, and how is it working out for your multiplex screens as well as single screens?
You see, internationally, almost 80% of the content is Hollywood content, 80 to 90% of the content. So that is where Hollywood studios are the major contributor to the international revenue. While in India, the overall contribution, overall box office contribution of the Hollywood studios is in a single digit actually. So in India, it affects less. So far as the mix of multiplex and single screens are concerned, you see today we have one of the largest number of multiplex screens which are under our digitization. Non 3 multiplex chains, which is PVR, Inox and Cinepolis, we have over 1,000 multiplex screens, which is actually bigger than any of the chains, and for which we have the advertising rights.
Right.
And the rest of it are the single screens.
Right. Sir, if you can also take us through how the visual print fee is panning out, because that's progressively reducing as an overall share because the sunset clause is over. So distributors, I'm assuming, have obviously stopped paying visual print fee. And even the Hollywood VPF rollout period in India and internationally as well. So that, if you specifically take a look at that portion, it's gone down 14% for D cinemas, and for E cinemas it's down 2%. Is this likely to be the trend going forward also? Do you feel that as the portion of the overall revenue pie, it will be core, especially government ad-driven revenue?
So far as the virtual print fee is concerned, the virtual print fee will be received from the Hollywood studios. By contract, that is going down. So, by 2018-19, all the virtual print fee that we receive from Hollywood studios will be over. That is by contract. So, and that is already factored in our business plan completely, and that we have been talking about year on year. So far as the rest of the virtual print fee is concerned, we have a very unique business model where we charge on a pay-per-show basis, not on a consolidated basis. And as the number of movies are going up and more the movies turn in the system, we make more virtual print fee. So that business, virtual print fee, we see going forward remaining stable. However, in percentage terms of the overall revenue, as the advertising revenue keeps going up, the percentage of virtual print fee, while remaining constant, will in percentage terms it will keep going down as a percentage of overall revenue.
Right. Sir, can you take us through the metrics in terms of the revenue per screen, how it has panned out for the quarter, and even in terms of the average ad revenue, because the average minutes sold has gone down in this quarter. It's 4.4 compared to 4.7. The number of clients have gone up to over 1,000 now. But if we take a look at the ad revenue per screen on an average, that has also gone down year on year. So take us through what is driving this.
Yeah, I think the answer is the same. This is basically the impact of demonetization which happened. So if you see our H1 last year, there was a growth of 29.4% in the ad revenue. In the first 40 days of Q3, we had a 50% growth, while the second half of Q3 contributed to minus 22% growth, which has come down to 3.8% negative in the Q4. So basically, 1.5 quarters was literally wiped out so far as the enterprise or the corporate revenue was concerned, and government revenue was also affected. So it is simply the effect of that. Otherwise, we don't see any concern. If you see in the H1 of last year, the number of minute utilization went up substantially, and now on the overall basis, also there is a marginally it is up. It is only in Q4 that it is down. So we don't see a concern on that account. And going forward, we are looking at a 30% growth in ad revenue this year. So that will, I think, answer all the questions.